I'm Carole Leathem, and you're listening to a bonus episode of the Caretakers Journey podcast. I am your host, and I want to welcome you to day 31 of our Caretakers 31-Day Resolve Challenge. Today is the last day. It is January 31st. Our resolve today is do it again. So grab your Post-it note and write. I resolve to repeat these resolves because caretaking is a cycle that is constantly changing. I must do it again. So, as caretakers, we need to understand the cyclical nature of our journey. And then we need to equip ourselves to navigate changes that requires emotional support, practical strategies, mindset shifts. So, how do we do this? Well, the first thing I think is so important is that we need to acknowledge that this is a cyclical nature, meaning that caregiving is a cycle. There is things that repeat, and then there are things that change, and then it seems like we're doing it all over again. Caretaking often follows a cycle of stability, challenges, crisis, recovery. Stability, challenges, crisis, recovery. I have seen this over the last 10 years of dealing with my husband's health issues and mental health issues. I have seen it over the last 2 years of dealing with my mom's health issues. Stability, challenges, crisis, recovery. These phrases are natural and vary in length and intensity. These phases, they come. Stability, we don't know how long it's going to last. We put my mom on hospice in July. She was really struggling. And then she got into this, what we called fragile stability. And for about 6 weeks, she was great. And then she had a fall. And then there were challenges. And then there was a crisis. And then she recovered. These phases are going to repeat. When we hear about other caretakers' journeys and their experiences, it can normalize our own ups and downs. That's why it's so important for us to share our stories. It's so important for us to be together as caretakers, whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether it's through email, whether it's in a Facebook group. When we hear other people's stories, it normalizes our own. We must be flexible. We must be adaptable. I love that I have a friend who says to me, we must be flexible. We must be adaptable. And then I say, we need to adjust our expectations and routines because circumstances are evolving. We have to know. We cannot get into this list of rules and regulations because they're going to change. This is my favorite one. I love a pivot mindset. You know, you're walking a certain way and then you just pivot and go somewhere, go a different way. You're thinking something and then pivot, a pivot mindset. Change is not a failure. Change is an opportunity to find a new solution. It's not a failure. As caretakers, we need to spend time on reflection and being self-aware. Okay. I had somebody tell me today, I was interviewed on a podcast earlier today, and the host of the podcast said to me, "You are very self-aware." And I said, "It has come with years and years and years of reflection and therapy and figuring stuff out. I regularly check in and assess my emotional and physical state. We all should be doing that. We need to recognize the triggers and signs that a new phase of caretaking might be coming. I used to tell my therapist that I feel like I'm standing on the shore and I'm watching a tidal wave off in the distance. I find that when this happens, I start worrying and trying to deal with the circumstances that's going to come when the tidal wave hits, but the tidal wave's not here yet, nor do we know if it's ever going to get here. So I'm now trying to solve something that hasn't happened or may not happen. And my therapist said, just because you know and can see it's coming, you don't know when it will arrive or how big it will be when it gets here. But you will know what to do when it gets here. I realized at that moment I had started to pre-live the moment. I felt a change coming. I'd stopped being present. I'm living for the change or for the circumstance that may or may not ever become a reality. Another thing we need to do is build coping strategies. So stress management techniques such as mindfulness, journaling, we've talked about all of these, reaching out to my therapist. using your binder or journal, having all of these ideas, resources available. Also have a list of emergency contacts, respite care options, financial plans. We have to plan for those unexpected, yet we have to plan for those expected, yet unexpected changes. So I think of this cycle as growth. This is how I reframe my thinking. Each phase of caretaking can build new skills and deeper relationships. And this reminds me that I'm growing. It reminds me of my personal growth. It reminds me of my personal resilience, and it reminds me of my adaptability. Finally, we need to tell ourselves, this too shall pass. No phase lasts forever. With the right mindset, support, and preparation, you can weather the changes and continue to provide strong, positive, compassionate care for your loved one. So, now that we've completed the 31-day Caretakers Resolve Challenge, what's next? Well, this is your final resolve. Do it again. I resolve to repeat these resolves because caretaking is a cycle that is constantly changing. I've included in the show notes today a link to a song that I listen to. It's on my When Life Gets Scary playlist. In my book, I list all of the songs that are on my When Life Gets Scary playlist. These are songs that I will turn on and I will blast in the car, when I'm laying on the floor, when I'm on an airplane, whenever I need to feel in tune with God. I will listen to the songs on my When Life Gets Scary playlist. And I have included one in the show notes today for you. It's a song called Do It Again by Elevation Worship. Find some place, close your eyes, and be encouraged. I can do hard things. You can do hard things. We can do hard things. Thank you for joining me on this 31-day Resolve Challenge. If you know a caretaker, share the show with them using the links in the show notes below. If you have thoughts or comments or want to write a review, follow the show, make a comment or a review. All of that helps other caretakers find us. My resources for these resolves is my book, Are You Ready to Find Joy When Life Gets Messy? And if you want to know how my caretaking journey started 10 years ago, the link to purchase my book is below. And I encourage you to read it and figure and understand how this all started. If you want an in-depth copy of these 31-day resolves, join my email list in the link below, and I'll let you know how to get it when it becomes available. As I close out today's episode, I want to pray for you one more time. God, we have been on this journey for 31 days of resolving, figuring out how to honor our loved one, how to get through and take care of ourselves through the journey, and God, just how to adapt and be flexible. God, I pray for every caregiver who's listening. We're all on this journey together, and our lives are intertwined. I pray, God, for the ones who are struggling. I know that I'm getting ready to leave and go to Milwaukee for a couple of weeks, and I know it's going to be a hard few weeks, and there's going to be a lot of demands. But there's some things that I can't do in person, and I need to go and be present. God, I pray that as we close out this 31 days, that we will be challenged to start them again. Because God, it is a cycle, and our journey of caretaking is ever changing. Thank you for walking before us. Thank you for walking behind us. And as always, God, thank you for walking beside us. We ask all this in your precious Son's name. Amen. Let me bless you for the last time. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look with favor on you and give you peace. I will be back next Friday, February 7th, to kick off the 8-week series on how to find joy when life gets messy, sharing tips and tools from my book. And until then, it's all about him.